everybody, my name is Dee Burks and this is Retirement Rescue, and today we're going to be talking about the skyrocketing cost of heating your home for the winter. Now there was a report that came out just a week or two ago. It is from the National Energy Assistance Directors Association. I hope I said that right. Anyway, they are basically going through and looking at the rising costs and putting out a report on that. Their report said that energy costs to heat your home this winter in the U.S. are up 28% across the board. And that's the average. Heating oil, which is mostly used in the Northeast U.S., is up 25%. Natural gas is up 31%. And what a lot of people don't think about in the U.S. is that natural gas is also used to make a lot of electricity. Electricity is up 18% in some places. So realize it's not going to be cheap to heat your home. Now this really isn't news to a lot of us. This has been coming for a while. We've had warnings all year with prices escalating, with Russia not exporting its fuel anymore, with the conflict with the Ukraine. All of that has affected energy prices. And we're going to see more and more of that as the winter progresses. And so I'm going to talk to you about what I'm going to do. Now understand, I realize not everybody has the option to do what I'm going to do. It's not going to work everywhere. It may not even be a concern to you. But I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do about it. And you can decide for yourself what you're going to do. Now in my case, my home is heated with natural gas. I have a furnace that's natural gas and my water heater is natural gas. Sadly, my kitchen stove is not, it's electric. But those two things are natural gas in my home. And that's great because natural gas historically has been relatively inexpensive. However, things are changing. Not only that, but if my electricity goes out, and this is true for most people who have natural gas heating, your ignition, your thermostats, all of that is electric. So if you don't have electricity for some reason, you also don't have heat, even though your heat may be natural gas or another source. Where I live, we've been really fortunate in that we don't have really extended periods where we have lost electricity. That is because about 5 years ago, we did have one. We went about 4 to 5 days. There was a big storm up in the mountains of Colorado. I live just 6 miles south of the Colorado border. Anyway, a lot of those lines got taken out. They couldn't fix them until spring. So they did a temporary fix. It still took them days and days and days to get that fix in. It really negatively affected people. The town spent $1 million to get a generator. So if that were to ever happen again, they would have some sort of protection. Well, a few weeks ago, we had an electrical outage here. And normally when that happens, the generator flips on. It's no big deal. Well, it didn't come on. And we were several hours without any electricity. And that is what really got me thinking seriously about this. If that had happened at a time when it was really cold in the middle of the night or during a major storm, my pipes would have frozen, it would have ruined my water heater, it would have been thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage to my home. I don't want to have to pay that. I need an option. So I decided to get a little wood stove. It's not anything fancy. It is like a $700 wood stove from Tractor Supply. It is not anything fancy. But I have realized that I need the option. I need an option to switch off to wood heat when natural gas prices are exorbitant. I need an option to have heat in my house should we not have electricity. One of the things I've done over the last few years is put heat tape on all the pipes that I fear might freeze. Well, guess what? Heat tape is electric. So I still have an issue. And my little wood stove is currently on order. It still hasn't arrived. It's 2 weeks late now. But the funny thing is, when I went into Tractor Supply to get my little wood stove, they can't hardly keep them in stock. Not 5 minutes after I was there, I'm just standing there, another couple comes in to buy a wood stove for the exact same reason. The outage that was several hours long got them to thinking. Their thermostat and everything on their natural gas is all electric. They had the exact same thought process. We are all going through that thought process. What if? What is your backup plan? Are you going to be out thousands for damage to your home because you don't have a backup plan? What if the natural gas cost just gets exorbitant? Now, a year or so ago, we had a major storm come through this part of the country, and it got very cold, bitterly cold. And it went all through Texas, and the price of natural gas skyrocketed temporarily. Well, what happened was the local utility here, and I live in a really small town, but the local utility ended up spending $1 million to get natural gas to town because the price had gone up so much. In order not to charge people that horrible amount, because no one could have paid it, they went to the Utilities Commission and they got it spread out over the course of the year. So we are paying a surcharge for that previous storm. We are also paying higher rates this year because natural gas is higher. If we have another major storm come through, we could have bills of hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And here again, I want the option to switch off to wood. Now let's talk a little bit about the wood situation, because I know a lot of viewers on this channel, they don't live in the States, or they live in a part of the U.S. where it's a little more tricky to get firewood. I live in the Rocky Mountains, y'all. I am within easy driving distance to several national forests. In the U.S., you can get a permit, and it's a year-long permit, to any of the national forest or BLM land, as Bureau of Land Management, that's also federal land, to go in and cut firewood. You can get a permit, it's $12 per cord. A cord will last me, because it's not my full-time heat source, it will last me 2 to 3 years for one cord. The minimum you do is for 2 cords, it's like $24 US. You can go into any of these national forests. You can cut down any of the dead trees, the beetle kill wood, which is what most people get because it's already partially dry or completely dry. And if you do the work, you haul it out of there, it's yours. $24 for 2 cords. The maximum you can get in 1 year is 5 cords. That would be years and years and years of firewood. I don't have room to store that much. Now the caveat is, you got to go get it. I don't want to go out and swing a chainsaw. I don't have the muscle power, at least not without significant damage to my muscles, to go out and lift and split and a cord of wood. No. But I can pay someone to do it. And right now, to pay someone to do a cord of wood for you and then deliver it to you, stack it, it's like $300. I can tell you 12 years ago, when I lived in the city, 250 miles away, where there are no forests, and all the wood had to be trucked in, I used to pay $300 a cord. So really, that expense hasn't changed. And in a really cold month, I might spend $50, $60 of that wood to heat my entire house, as opposed to hundreds of dollars with natural gas. I want that option to be able to save money when I can save money, and then use whatever heat source makes sense. And here's one of the points I want to make. You know, having options is all about you choosing to live the best, most economical kind of life that you can live in a way that you want to live it. Wood heat isn't for everybody. I love it. I have lived in a cabin for a short period of time that was all wood heat. I loved it. There's something about wood heat that is so warm. And I love sitting by a fire. I find it very inspirational and calming. So it's a quality of life thing too for me. But it is not an all or nothing game. There are so many people, especially on YouTube. And you know, I'll give them some of them are homesteading communities, some of them are, you know, just doomsdayers, whatever. But they act like this is an all or nothing game. That you're not really living if you only have wood heat. And that's just crazy, y'all. You know, that you're not really sustainable if you don't have a garden that feeds you 365 days a year. That's crazy, y'all. For me, it is about me choosing. Yes, I have a little garden every year. No, it doesn't sustain me completely, and it probably won't. That's okay. I just want the option. Yes, I'll have wood heat. No, it won't be year-round, and it shouldn't be, because I'm going to use whatever fuel is cheapest and what makes sense at the time. It is not an all-or-nothing game. So don't be thinking just because you can't go out and buy the wood stove that's, $4,000 and all this stuff, that you can't really avail yourself of some of these options. You can. You can do so in a very small way that makes sense for you. But don't ever let someone tell you that your way of doing something is invalid in any way. It's not. Just because it's not the way they would do it. I'm telling you what I'm doing. But here again, let's start the conversation. What are you going to do this year? What's your plan to save money on energy? It's going to be higher for everyone. And like me, it just takes one of those incidents for you to sit back and say, okay, what if I don't have electricity for an extended amount of time? What if, my fuel cost does double, triple, or get ridiculous? And one of the not really funny, but one of the things that I've actually heard people say, like supposedly knowledgeable people say, is, well, it'll only be a problem if we have, a cold winter. That's like the guy who comes by and sees a hole in your roof and says, it's really only a problem if it rains. Don't worry. Really? I mean, some of this stuff is so ridiculous, I just can't even. It is something for you to think about. It's not something for you to worry about or stress over, but it's something for you to realistically think about. I think about this wood stove idea as an insurance policy for me against creating more damage in case we do have a bad storm. I also think of it as a way for me to save some money. Should the price for natural gas just get completely out of hand, I can switch to wood no problem. And the thing is, I can switch right back when the price goes back down. It's not a big deal. But if I didn't have that option, it would be a big deal. So I'm encouraging you to really kind of think through these things. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? What makes sense for you? What doesn't? Some of these things don't make sense for some people, and I get that. But you're still going to have to pay the extra money. So if it's a situation where you're going to have to come up with the extra money, think about how you're going to do that and how you're going to sustain that through the winter. Now, as I get my wood stove and I get it installed, I will be doing a video and I'll put the whole thing up for you all to see exactly what happened and how we did that. I've got some friends who are helping me. So that should be funsies. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.